So this is really pretty cool. We are a little intimidated here, gotta say. Or Pedro's never intimidated. But we're being joined today by Caroline Casagrande, who is, you guys ready for this title? It's kind of scaring me. Deputy Assistant Secretary for Academic Programs in the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. Basically,
she's in charge of everything.
She's in charge of like everything that's important to the Colombo guys,
yes.
And to binational centers around not just Latin America,
Not
but
just
around the
Latin
world. Am I correct in that, Caroline?
Well, we are so happy and proud to work on public diplomacy in all aspects, English language programming, Education USA, and of course, the amazing work at the Colombo Centers.
Your portfolio is worldwide.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot of people to worry about all the time.
A huge number of people. I mean, if you think that just in Latin America, just in Habla, how many binational? 170 binational centers in Latin America?
No, it's a bit less, but it's something like that.
It's like some huge number. So that's just Latin America.
Yes.
This is the rest of the world. Okay, so what does the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Academic Programs do?
Well, you got to think in all aspects of life, business, politics, science, everything is built on that people-to-people relationship. And I am so lucky I work at Educational and Cultural Affairs, which is one of the biggest bureaus in the entire State Department. And we say we move people to move ideas. We are always...
It's a short motto and it works. It
It's
explains
a motto,
everything.
and it works.
We're always trying to put out new ideas and introduce new people to other people and build those connections. So if you think about it, just from building connections, everything we're doing, education, our amazing cultural programming here at the Colombo Centers, English language programming, so we can talk to each other. It's really just about building those people-to-people relationships all over the world. Because when people know each other, the world is a safer place.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that one of the things in your portfolio is the Fulbright Program. And Fulbright really,
Just
I mean, in
Fulbright
addition to what it
itself,
gives the
it's huge.
scholars themselves in terms of being able to go on and get those masters and those PhDs, but also what it does in terms of creating ambassadors, unofficial ambassadors. Tell us about the Fulbright Program and the Fulbright Program here in Colombia.
Sure. Well, the Fulbright Program is an amazing experiment in what can happen when you have someone who thinks outside the box. We had a Senator William Fulbright. He was in Arkansas. He was chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. And he thought, well, you know what? I think the best thing I can do is invest in young minds around the globe and exchange those young minds, the best and brightest around the globe. And I've heard stories when he went for the initial funding, he would show up with a bill for an aircraft carrier and say, for the price of this aircraft carrier, I can exchange a few thousand young minds around the globe.
Genius.
Genius.
perfect.
Sorry, it's genius.
Yeah.
And that's like the definition of public diplomacy.
That's it. And from Fulbright, I mean, obviously, here in Colombia, we have had presidents
Yes.
who are
Yes.
Fulbrighters.
Fulbrighter.
Indeed.
We have all over the globe, we have winners of the Nobel Prizes that are Fulbrighters. And really, they're out changing the world. What a better idea is there than taking the best and brightest, working on social projects and projects in the arts and culture that matter to them, and getting them across borders. Again, moving people to move ideas.
Well, and you were talking to some of our alumni from our Access program.
Access.
The kids that just graduated in the end of November. They graduated the
Last
Access
year.
Santa
Last year,
Fe.
yes.
And you said something to them that I thought was so cool. And I saw these 15-year-old eyes just open up when you said you realize that your alumni and X percentage of world leaders are alumni of our programs. That means you guys are our future world leaders. I thought that was really, really, really cool. And the kids were like, wow.
They have to shoot for the stars. They have to aim that high. I agree with that.
Well, it's true. 1 in 3 world leaders is an alumni of Educational and Cultural Affairs programming. I'm also an alumni. So the odds are pretty high. If you've been through one of our programs, we expect great things from you.
Well, and rightly so.
Tell us a little bit about U.S. higher education system and why study in the U.S. Why it's different. Why, if you go to the U.S. to study higher education, it's going to be an advantage against the other ones.
Well, we know no matter who you ask, no matter where you ask, we poll all the time. If you ask students around the globe where they'd like to study, everything else being equal, the answer almost always is the United States of America. And that is because we have world-class educational facilities. Our labs are extraordinary. Our ability to learn inside the classroom, you will be in front of the world's greatest professors. Now, the other aspect to campus life in America that is so much fun, and it's so fun we're here talking on a radio station. I used to do college radio. You can do all these incredible things, all these extracurricular things, and really make lifelong friends. We love Columbian students. I am here to make sure Columbian students know they are welcome, that we have these extraordinary Education USA centers all across Columbia.
Especially here in the Colombo.
That's right. Please come see them. It's a 5-step process to studying in the United States. And one of the first things I hear from students is I can't afford it. And
that was going to be my next question. How can we sort of allay those fears of people saying, yeah, awesome, I would die to study in the U.S., but there's just no way. So I'm not even going to try.
Yes.
Let's debunk the myth.
Let's debunk it.
Yes.
Do you know how many universities are in the United States of America?
Hey, I went to school in Boston, and just in the Boston metro area, there were 64 institutions of higher learning, colleges, community colleges, universities. So multiply that by how many?
4,700 universities and colleges in the U.S. And my point to that is there is a school at every price point for every student.
There is, and
And there are possibilities of scholarships. We have a student actually. You may have heard about him when you were meeting with Samuel Reales. Shout out to Samuel Reales, Director of Education USA for Colombo, Bogota. A student who, through Education USA, he was a student from Medellin. Just an amazingly brilliant kid, Tomas, who made it his business to make sure he could study in the U.S. He is now studying neuroscience. Or neurobiology, full ride at Harvard University.
It's incredible.
I mean, this is some kid from Medellin who was like, this is it. I'm smart. I can do this. And actually, we interviewed him one day, and he said, I don't think I'm really that smart. I think I'm driven.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I doubt that. He's at Harvard. Come on.
Clearly.
No, he applied to
Clearly brilliant.
Well, he also got a full ride. He got a
ones.
full ride
Yeah.
to Columbia University too.
Columbia, yeah.
I talked him into Harvard because Boston, but and I think that's something that's really important in terms of Education USA. What would your advice be to a student going through the process and thinking about talking with Education USA? How can they make the best use of Education USA, which we will remind our listeners is a State Department program?
Yes.
Sure. So the first and best thing about Education USA is that it's completely free.
Good point.
That's
There are some rich ladies in Colombia that charge a lot of money to do what Education USA does.
That's right. And the best part of Education USA, the second best part, is that they are charged with promoting all 4,700 colleges and universities. So they are not going to put a student in a place where that student won't find success. Okay. They know about all those colleges and universities. They have been trained extensively by the State Department on how to place the right student at the right school. So for free, you're going to get the best services, even remotely possible. And they are brilliant people. Most of them have master's degrees. They're incredibly well trained. They're friendly. I just spent some time with them. They're a lot of fun.
Especially Samuel Reales.
all of them. All of them.
And so I'd encourage them to come down, and it's a 5-step process. I mean, even if you're just thinking about it, even if you're a few years down, come down, have the conversation. It's free. Let's demystify it. Let's come up with a plan. A lot of students, maybe undergrad, you're feeling a little too young, 17, 18, you're not ready to leave. Most of our international students in the United States are actually graduate students.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we think that's fantastic. So start those conversations early.
But something else that I always find amazing is that there are other programs that help people get a taste. I mean, there's a community college program. There's SUSI. There's Education USA Academy. There are a lot of different ways that students can at least get a taste. We have a alumna of one of our access programs, Donna.
Yeah.
Who's like scary brilliant. She actually went to Education. She went to Education USA Academy.
Yeah. The summer program.
No, she went to the summer program.
The summer program. Yeah.
She, 16-year-old girl from a definitely not privileged background, got on a plane in Bogota and ended up landing in San Francisco and spending a month at the university and showing those folks how cool Colombians are. And that's another program sponsored by your office.
Sure. We have a lot of programs for high school students, for college students. And one of the things I like about your story, showing those students how wonderful Colombians are, that's one of the reasons it's so important to us. We can't send every American student abroad, but we can give them a Colombian friend in their classroom.
It has
and
to be
that
two
relationship.
ways. It has to be two ways.
And we're very proud this year we've sent the most Americans abroad in history. We're trying even harder to send more Americans to Colombia. So we're really trying to make sure those friendships, those people-to-people relationships, we're building one person at a time.
And in person, not just social media.
Yes.
They're in-person relationships. But there's so many other things. There are so many other things, and I think that people don't understand how much really the State Department is invested in public diplomacy. It's not always government to government. It's people to people.
It's people to people. We always say culture leads politics,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
We pay for a lot of programming that has to do with music or sports or the arts because we believe that those things tend to move faster than political life. And so we want to be part of those conversations too.
And here at the Colombo, we are absolutely beneficiaries
Absolutely.
of all of those programs because we, through our cultural programs, in conjunction with the U.S. Embassy, in conjunction with the State Department, in conjunction with the Red de Colombos, the group of Colombos here, the 9 cities. Remember, there are not only 9 of us, guys. And we really are very appreciative. And one of the kids today was so cool, just looked at you and said, I don't have a question. I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for giving us this access program. So thank you.
Oh, it's awesome. And thank that student
He was
for
cool.
being a great enough
No,
student.
that's why this kind of
Lightning round.
visits is fun because you get to, instead of sit down in a meeting, you get to see the people that were actually beneficiaries, and that's
And
cool.
they get to
then-
see you, and that
Yes.
for them is like,
yeah.
all right,
Okay,
lightning round.
We do this with every guest on our radio show.
So you weren't prepped for this.
It's
Oh
not
no, the embassy's gonna kill us.
Are you ready? Mm-hmm. What are you reading?
Oh, right now, I just, what is it called? Crawfish. I just picked
Yes,
it up.
yeah.
It's a New York Times
the
bestseller
bestseller
about a
right
young
now,
girl
the-
in the
the
South. I just brought it with
yes.
me. Crawfish sing or something. It's horrible that I can't
Crawdads.
give you the actual. Why the crawdads sing, I
Yes,
think it is.
that's-
I just picked it up. It came
However,
in.
she is currently reading.
Yes.
Okay, I get the next one.
There you go.
What are you listening to now?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, Vampire Weekend's new album.
I just heard them on NPR. Just did an interview with the people from Vampire Weekend. I had never heard of them.
Really, my favorite
They're
band.
kind of awesome.
Yeah, they're amazing. They were 4 years between albums.
Yep.
So that came out 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
and it's in my heavy Spotify rotation.
I heard the interview on Sunday on NPR. So okay.
What are you watching? Please say Game of Thrones.
Of
It has
course,
to be
Game of
Thrones.
Thrones. Of course, Game of Thrones. But you know what? Last week's episode left me a little.
I
dry.
loved it.
Did you?
I
Yes,
didn't.
I think it was.
I'm sorry,
a fun
Dracarys.
episode.
Dracarys needed to be said by Daenerys and not by Missandei.
I
Just
thought it was a
saying.
good episode. I thought it was a
Just
good episode.
saying.
It was a in between because next Sunday it's going to be huge.
I mean, here's the thing. We spent years and years looking at the Dragon Queen as a hero.
She's becoming the Mad Queen, though.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Burn
Where
them
was
all.
my viewership for the last
And
6
wait
years?
a second, I just rewatched it. I watched because you DVR, and I watched it again last night. So I'm watching it, and at one point where they're talking about how you have to be careful because Cersei's letting everybody into the Red Keep, because she's trying to seem benevolent, and Daenerys. I don't remember the exact quote, but basically it was a burn them all. Mm-hmm. So okay, so
Okay.
Well, there's
other-
always Arya.
There's
There's
hope.
always
There's
Arya.
Arya's the go. I'm liking Sansa lately. Like this.
Sansa's going to end up at the Iron Throne. I told you that.
Okay, what are you listening to?
Listening what? No, then we go to what are you excited about?
Yeah.
What excites you?
Honestly, education excites me. This is the coolest job I've ever had. If you're ever going to change the world, if you're ever going to make things better, an educated mind's what you get nowadays. So I'm super excited to be here talking about international education. And that sounds so nerdy, but it's true.
No,
It's not nerdy. It's not nerdy. Before I came to the Colombo, I used to say, really, this is like what's important to me, like finding raffle presents for rich people. And now I have a reason, the real reason to get up in the morning. And that's pretty
It's
cool.
fun when your guests answer what are you excited about, and it's their job, and
Yep.
that means something. And it's important.
And the look on Caroline's face says she's not BSing. Last one, and this is kind of a crazy one. This is sort of a very like 21st
This
century
is a
slate.
Janet
This
one.
is kind
This
of a
is Janet
slate
one.
question. What are you obsessing about lately?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, this is embarrassing, but youth hockey. My son just made the junior Washington Capitals.
Whoa, no way.
And yeah, we spend
Oh,
a lot
we
of time in my
lost.
family.
Why is that embarrassing? That's like so cool.
Well, it was just last week. And so we're constantly thinking about what this is going to mean, how we're going to make it work, because, there's tournaments all over the world.
and you got to get up really early in the morning.
And I'm talking about a 10-year-old, soon to be 11-year-old.
wow.
But yeah, we do have to get up really early in the morning. But that has me so excited and so happy for my boy because he played so hard for so many years.
That's very
so
cool. Shout out to your son.
Okay.
My kids, are you listening? Hello. Caroline Casagrande, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here,
Stopping
for
by.
taking the time, and for getting some of our access kids even more excited about continuing in their English education.
Oh, it was awesome. Such an honor to spend time with everybody here and visit your gorgeous Colombo.
CCA
Thank
Radio. You are now part of CCA Radio.
Now you're a
Fantastic.
CCA Radio alum.
What a cool show. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.